There are two types of people when it comes to developing and coming up with business ideas. Those who can't come up with any ideas at all, and those who come up with so many ideas that they can never get any of them done. So which kind are you? So I got a poll going on Twitter. I'll share the results later on in the show, and we'll find out right now. As of this moment, most people are saying they come up with too many ideas. So whether you come up with too few or too many ideas, today we're going to talk about how to come up with business ideas. And possibly more importantly, since right now the poll is leaning towards most people having too many ideas, we're also going to talk about how to take those ideas and push them that last little bit to actually make them happen, to get them to happen. So today it's going to be good stuff. We're going to have 4 points for you on how to come up with business ideas and make them happen. So it's going to be worth sticking around all the way through the show. I'm sure I'm going to have some good stuff for you, as well as today we're going to do some more domain to profit business ideas. So we're going to look at domain names that are available this week and this week only, and we're going to build some businesses on them, talk about what business can go on those domains. It's good stuff. So say hi, let me know you're here in the chat, and I look forward to chatting with you and talking about business ideas. Here we go.
Domain to profit from a .com to a business idea. Take a domain name, develop an income from domain to profit. We'll show you how. Domain to profit from Drew Watkins. Get started right now.
Okay. Well, awesome to see everybody here. Vito, hey, how's it going? I got a plan on trying to mention a little bit of streaming concerts possibly coming up later on today, and yeah, so good stuff. And we're going to try to take some domains, talk about the businesses that can be put on them, but also whether you're developing physical products, whether you're developing domain names, whatever it is, we're going to talk about capturing ideas and turning them into businesses. What's going to be the decision between failure and success? What's the difference between a good idea and a bad idea? All that's going to come through right here on From Domain to Profit today. And I know it's some good stuff. So thanks for joining me. I am Drew Walsh, and I appreciate you coming here. Each week we talk about the domains that are available this week, and we look at developing a business plan on them. So right off the bat, what I want to do is do the first domain name that's available this week and talk about the first business. So that's what you come for, and that's what we're going to do. So first, let me set up the 3-minute business plan, and we are going to do this here. And it's going to be a 3-minute business plan. And I just was noticing somebody said that there's a little bit of an echo. I think I only have one mic, so I don't know. Hopefully it clears up. But 3-minute business plan is this over here, and that is going to be where we talk about a domain name that's available. We're going to look at a problem that is out there, and then we're also going to look at the solution for that domain name, or the problem and the solution, thereby building a business for that domain name. And I am trying to make sure that I have as many mics. Yep, I do have an extra mic on. Boom. That is why, Matt, thank you. You win the award today. We had too much audio instead of having no audio. So that's something new. Okay. So that should have taken care of that. So the 3-minute business plan over here is available at that URL down below. And it's just a basic template that you can use to follow along and build out a business plan based on the domain names that we're going to talk about today. So the first domain name that we have coming up, let's go with this one right here. First domain is patentfilter.com. Patentfilter.com. And this domain name is up on GoDaddy Auction. Started the 3-minute timer. And patentfilter.com, let me reach up by the camera here. This domain name is running for $12 over on GoDaddy Auctions. And let me see, in GoDaddy Auctions. So, sorry, I got some different windows clicking around. Hopefully everything keeps running clear. Okay. So patentfilter.com, saw this one in the list of domains, and ends in 6 days. What I was thinking with this is one of the most important pieces, if you're ever thinking about patenting something, is the patent search. So a lot of people, if you've ever come up with an idea for a physical product and thought, I'm going to patent this, is the idea of a patent search. Well, patentfilter.com I can see as either a lawyer's kind of front side of his business where he basically is doing some patent searches. But patentfilter.com sounds like a great way of kind of filtering through the patents to get to the ones that are most like your idea, possibly saving time, saving money. So the problem is, if you come up with a patentable idea, you need to do a patent. It's expensive, and realistically, what we would want to do is we have to do a patent search. Usually costs, for a basic patent search, lawyers are going to cost $300 to $500. Usually, what I've been told, and then so patentfilter.com could be a per service where we are basically actually let's go with that. Patentfilter.com has patent lawyers from around the nation that will, for a fixed fee, filter out patents that your idea may be similar to, basically doing a patent search on patentfilter.com. Patentfilter.com, filter, we're looking for unique selling proposition. Filter goes with that. I would say patentfilter.com is how you separate out all the other ideas from your brilliant idea. For one low service fee, you can filter out the patents, separate out the patents. Something like that. What do we think? I don't know. So there you go, patentfilter.com, possibly a good domain name for a lawyer or somebody wanting to put together kind of an automated or a basic patent search. I'm a little outside my expertise, probably obvious, but I don't know, pretty good starting domain name. Patentfilter.com, $12 over on GoDaddy. So how would you develop out patentfilter.com? That's kind of the thing. Anybody out there that does patent filtering, patent searches, any lawyers on the show? There you go, possibly one that's pretty good. If nothing else, it's a good brand name. So, yeah. So there we go. There's our first 2-minute business plan. Possibly not the clearest one, but right there, we came with the business idea, on the spot. I try not to prep too much for these. I try to come up with the domain names that will get a thought or an idea going in either myself, possibly in you, hopefully in you. And then over the course of just a few minutes, we go deep into our creative centers and come up with an idea for that domain name. Sometimes they're home runs. Other times they're patentfilter.com. Okay. Well, I want to do, before I get on to talking about the 4 parts that I pull down, those 4 tips that I have for coming up with business ideas, let's do one more 3-minute business plan, and then we'll do some more throughout the show. I'm, of course, going to save some of my best 3-minute business plans till the end of the show. So if you want those opportunities, you got to stay put, as well as getting the good stuff as far as these tips. So the next one that I want to do, let's go with this one here. This one's another challenging one. I'm going to push myself a little bit more with chartlogs.com. Chartlogs.com, $12 over on GoDaddy, ends in 6 days, and chartlogs.com, starting a timer. So I wanted to include this one because it's a little geeky. It's a little techy. I hear it. I hear chart logs. Makes me immediately think of the old days where if you wanted to report on, how many people are coming to your website, you would log everybody that comes to your site, then analyze those logs and come up with charts. So I kind of want to go that route with it. Chart logs. Are there any programs out there that still do that? That take web logs and analyze them? I don't know of any. I think it was Web Analytics or something like that used to do that. So chartlogs.com creates charts off your logs is kind of what I was thinking. Is there another angle for it? What kind of problems can we solve with chartlogs.com? I'm thinking charting of logs. Where else can we find logs that could benefit from a chart? Well, let's stick with our main thing, and that is web analytics. I know that there's logs there. The idea, though, is to take data, parse it, turn it into a chart. Pretty much as simple as that. You can do it through Excel, and you can actually even sell even a kind of a plugin that goes and runs on top of Excel that would allow you to import the data into Excel as long as it's, how many rows is that? If Lee's on here, Lee might know how many rows a spreadsheet can handle. It's like either 72,000 or 36,000 or something like that, unless they've upped it. But then basically you can do a plugin on top of Excel that analyzes the logs and then uses the charting piece to come up with a chart for those logs. I don't know. I could see us doing it, at least in our business, charting logs of like phone calls over time and things like that. Basically, pick a problem. Pick something you're dealing with in your business or in your life where you have a log. So maybe it's your cell phone bill. You have a log, you can go download it, put it into a tool, and come up with a chart that maybe analyzes it per time, per color, something like along those lines. Make it simple. Solve that problem for your consumer. Another one. Try to make it a stretch. I don't know. I'm not digging it. So maybe it really does come down to how would you develop chartlogs.com, $12 over on GoDaddy. So there we go. Saving the good ones for later. Hopefully I got some home runs for you later on. But really, for the most part, what I want to make sure that I always do is go with a unique variety of 3-minute business plans. Bring you some domain names that are, just can take you in any different direction depending on what your passions or interests are. And maybe we get some creative juices going for you, and in turn, come up with something that you can actually take the domain name, turn it into a business. So, okay. So I am trying to rearrange some windows. I apologize about that. I am back home this week. Last week I was in San Diego. So it's nice to have a little bit more of a quality, a little bit of a home base. I plan on traveling more over the course of time. So, okay, right now, 84% of people say they have too many ideas, and 16% of people say they struggle to have ideas. So, and I kind of wonder, like, if you have too many ideas, how does that break out? Does that break out into, I have too many ideas and I get nothing done because I'm paralyzed? Or is it I have too many ideas and I'm not even watching this show because ideas aren't something I need? I don't know. I have too many ideas and I'm creating the show. Okay. So realistically, which I say that a lot, realistically, I've been in both camps. I've been in the camp of too many ideas. Right in front of me, I have a filing cabinet that probably 12 years or so, I used to think that I was doing such a good job because I would take an idea and I would, come up with all kinds of good stuff and plan out a business and file it away for the day that I can make it happen. So I definitely have had a lot of time where I've had lots of business ideas, and still in the filing cabinet now, dusty years later, remain a lot of great business ideas that can make somebody a bunch of money if they would just implement those business ideas. Well, I've also been the person that struggles to have an idea, especially when, I put the pressure on myself or decide that I need to come up with ideas at a given time. But struggling to have ideas is certainly something that I've experienced as well. So no matter what side of that coin you're on, too few, too many, I think that the 4 tips I'm going to bring to you today can give you a good way to come up with business ideas. And here's one of the main things. As a creative, one of the things that drives me nuts is I hate it when people say, this is how you do it. This is the process you come up with to have business ideas. And I'm not going to do that. I am not going to do that to you because realistically, your creative mind is going to work in any number of different ways. And if you try to follow this process precisely, it's going to hurt your creativity. So there is flexibility built into this, which I'll talk to you about. And hopefully somewhere in there, you'll be able to come up with business ideas and then actually prioritize and make them happen. So It's more about the tools and the ideas, not specifically providing you the way. So, but first thing first is number one on how to come up with business ideas is to capture everything. Capture everything. And what is everything? Well, in my back pocket, for example, I keep with me a capture. I call it my capture notebook. This is always in my back pocket. And in here, I capture any business idea that I ever come up with. So I look for what I call pain. Actually, I don't call it pain. The book Principles calls it pain. And it's the idea of whenever you experience pain, not necessarily physical pain, but it can be physical pain. But whenever something gets in your way in your daily life, it's painful. Like there's pain there. There's a conflict. Write that down. Try to note that situation. Keep a pain log. You can also look at it as just if you run into a problem, write that down. What was the problem? How did the problem happen? And then, of course, if you have just business ideas, it'd be great if somebody did this. Why is no one doing this? Write them down. This is the capture phase. This looks like Post-it notes all over your desk. It looks like an idea journal that you keep, next to your bed or in your back pocket. But the key thing with this part is, to recognize pain, problems, ideas, and get them out of your brain and onto paper. It's capture. So part one is capture, and you're going to use that pocket journal, and you can also use a phone. The key thing is a lot of times apps try to keep you in their system. They limit your creativity. So if you're going to use a phone, hopefully have something that allows you to draw or quickly get it. I use a little bit of everything. The key thing of those capture. Get the idea out of your brain because realistically, business ideas come to you when you don't have time to think about them, right? Like, in the shower, that's one of the times, one of the things I will do is on my phone, one of the tools I use is a voice recorder. And there's a voice to text recorder on there as well. So sometimes if I can't type or a lot of times in my car, I'll just hit that and start talking just to capture the idea. And then that'll bring us to part two, which is the rough organization. So step two of coming up with business ideas, first is to capture them. Two is to do a rough organization. This is when you start to grab all your captured stuff, whether it's Post-it notes, voice, you take the time to get them into your idea bank. So your idea bank might be something like Evernote or OneNote, which I use OneNote quite often, which is a tabbed system for pulling together and grouping your ideas. I also use often I have a larger journal that I use for capturing all my ideas. So you can capture into this, but you can also use this to put down larger ideas or bring the ideas all together into one place. One central place is what you're trying to do. So in this rough organization, there's a couple key parts. One is you are trying to organize, possibly clean a little, but you're not looking to edit. You're not removing ideas as of this point. You want to pull all the ideas into one place, categorize them maybe around a theme. So, for example, I have themes maybe in regards to towing.com or themes around the towing industry, themes around, from domain to profit. I have a log of all kinds of ideas I bring in and I put in one place. So that's step two, is to kind of pull them together. If there's anything that I come up with that is related to this show, for example, it goes in from domain to profit in a tab system in OneNote. So that is the organized piece. So you're not editing. That's the key thing. I spent a long time there for a while, several years in a row. I've been journaling and keeping a journal for many, many years. And there were several years where the journal, I only used a third of it. I started to essentially use the process from capture to putting it into my journal. I started to filter it. I decided what's good enough to go into the actual journal. And you do not want to do that. This is not the time for cutting. Okay, that's the key thing. It's just a rough organization. It's getting it into a central part. So those are the first two, is capturing them, getting them out of your brain. And I'm guessing a lot of us who struggle with having too many ideas, capturing is possibly where you stop. Maybe you pull them into a central bank, but possibly that's where you stop before you ever move on to number 3, which is like the key piece. This is the part that so many people don't do. This is why years down the road, you'll see something, you'll say, I had that idea first, right? You had some great idea, but you didn't actually make it. You see it as, on TV or whatever, and you're like, man, I had that idea. I never did anything with it. Well, it's the third part of the 4 steps, is to rethink. And this is where you really start to give an idea some legs. And this is where you try to be critical about the idea. This is where you start to edit. Is this idea, how does it fit into my life? Is this an idea that can be developed out? And this is also where I bring in one of the key pieces of what it is that business, specifically business ideas, you can have ideas on anything, art projects, whatever. But specifically when it comes to a business idea, what you have to look for in step 3 is value. What is the value that your idea can bring to the world or to a market? And we don't spend as much time on value as what I would like to on this show. But value really gets at the heart of business. And when I say value, this is where you're doing something, you're serving in a way that somebody's willing to give you something for it, right? This is where, for example, I'll mow your lawn, you pay me $10 or $20 or something like that. My value that I bring to you is I save you time. So those ideas that you might have in some log, in some organization somewhere, you have to look at them and figure out how you can bring value. There's 2 ways that you can really kind of find value in an idea. There's 2 ways specifically that you can tie it to business. One is, how can your idea save people time? Or then the other one is, how can it save somebody money? If you can do either of those things, you're able to provide values for somebody. So for example, mowing lawns, you're saving somebody time. Therefore, there's a value associated with it. Let's see here. We had chart logs. Like if you can help somebody see something, log some data, and be able to see data in a new way, you might be able to save them time. Maybe they won't have to do it manually anymore. Or you might be able to save them money because maybe they were paying somebody to do that previously. You're saving time, saving money. You're bringing value. And now that you're able to bring value by solving whatever problem it is, then, well, you can expect value in exchange. Solve bigger problems, get more value. Okay, that's one of the key things. You solve a big enough problem, you're going to make a lot of money. So step 3 being the rethink piece. This is where we would go deeper into one of these business ideas. A 3-minute business plan really spends a lot of time at the capture idea. We can capture the idea, possibly find the problem, the solution, and then we can leave it at that point. We might file that away by category, and then rethink is where we would dive deeper into an idea, which when I'm going to talk later on in the show about what we're going to do next week, and it's going to be very much about the idea of going deeper on an idea. So number 1, capture it. Number 2 is organize it. Get it put into a place where it's grouping it together with either like ideas, like topics. And then number 3 is the rethink piece. So many people don't spend time actually rethinking things. In my journal, I won't open it up and flip to things, but if I was to reflip and go back to an old idea, a lot of times there'll be an idea, something broken out, and then there'll be some white space for me to come back and work on it later. So I will actually spend trips. Part of what I did last week in San Diego is I go back through old ideas, old logs, old, things that have been captured, and I'll spend some time rethinking on it. So rethink is number 3. And then number 4, this is the part that if you're one of the, let me refresh Twitter here and see how many people. So right now, 81% of people say they have too many ideas. This is the part that you're possibly stuck at then. You have all these great ideas. You've thought them out quite a bit. But part 4 is to prioritize and give a next step. Okay, this is what I struggled with for such a long time. I still struggle. I'm always looking for better ways to do this piece here, which is prioritizing the next step. Some of the ways that I've done this, this is where, okay, so capturing puts it into a log, and then organizing puts it into a journal so you could rethink and fill in more space. This is step 4 is where we pull it out of the journal. What does it look like to pull it out of the journal? It's like bring it into the actual world. In my case, there's a couple ways that happens. I will bring it to a whiteboard, and that's where I will start to think about the potential of that specific business, look at maybe revenue, market for that business. I really start to get to the numbers a little bit. What's the projection for this? Then I also will do things like use these notepads. I specifically designed these. These are basically, it's going to be a little hard to see. Let me go to SkyCam. Maybe I can pull it up for you. Okay, let's see. So these here, basically it has like the business or the website that we're working on, this project. So that might be like towing.com, long distance page. What's the outcome or objective that we're looking to have? So we're looking to redesign the long distance page so we can give an incentive for new people to sign up, thereby filling the page back up, which is something we just recently did. Then the next action will be what's next? What is the next thing that needs to happen? The next action, and that's some coffee stain. Okay. So the next action might be, it might just be rethink about this, think about this more, or possibly it might be get a designer to create a rough outline of the long distance page. Then we assign an owner. A lot of times, if you're in the process of thinking about it still, it's going to be you. But if you have people that you work with, you might assign it and give them essentially this sheet of paper. And then there's a priority, low to high. Where is this priority? So if you are coming up with an idea and like, let's say this idea that you have doesn't really add anything to your bottom line. It's not going to be something that's going to generate a lot of revenue. Maybe it's more of a vanity idea. You'll pretty quickly see as you pull it out of your journal and out of that rethinking process and you start to give it legs, it's going to end up being a low priority. And then basically these are sticky notes, so they stick, hopefully. And the sticky notes, they go on, you can keep them on a board, on a whiteboard. You can keep them, a lot of times they get tucked in my journal if I need to rethink about them. But then you can kind of stack them from low priority to high priority, and you can always be working on them. But that's the process of pulling them out. So maybe what you need to do, possibly, if you have too many ideas, if you're one of the 82% of people as of right now that have too many ideas, spend time in that rethink piece and then look to add legs to it, to prioritize, where does this fall in? What we run into nowadays, and the reason I still have a cabinet full of business ideas, is many of those business ideas are just too small for where our business is now. So they're very low priorities. It would require a lot of work to build out this big elaborate site to make like $3,000 a month or $6,000 a month. And back when I created those ideas, that was a good idea. But nowadays, it doesn't have the scale and the growth potential to even get a Post-it note or to get more time of mine. It just stays filed away. So take those ideas that you have and add some add some priority to it. And these are just, I just created these, unfortunately not able to sell them. Someday, maybe I'll sell them. See, there we go. The problem is we need a way to capture and take a business idea and actually add action to it. The solution is a sticky pad that actually organizes that, the outcome we're looking for, the next action, who's assigned to it, and the priority. There you go. So, I don't know. Those are the 4 steps. We're looking to capture them, get them down, get them into a small journal, onto Post-it notes, whatever it is. Then take time to pull them together, organize them into a rough organization. You're not editing as of this point. You're just getting them organized around topic or product or maybe domain. And then number 3 is when we are going to spend time, rethinking and really diving into maybe what is the market size on this? We don't do that with many of the domain names that we've talked about. Like, I don't know how many people are looking for logs or chart logs. That would be where we would look into this industry, figure out the market a little bit, figure out what it would take to create a product that can bring value. And then we either can scrap it or we can go on to step 4, which is to actually prioritize and create a next step or a next movement for that business idea. Now, sometimes in that step 4, the next step might be to kill it, or to kill it or to file it away. And filing it away death is a good thing for an idea. Like, if the idea is not good enough, kill it. Like, if you don't see that going somewhere, don't leave it. Don't leave it on some list on your wall of things that you'll do someday, because ultimately you're just going to eventually drive yourself nuts. Get it out of your eyesight. Don't think about it again, because it's a dead idea. Dead idea. So hopefully there's some good points in there, in those 4 points of coming up with business ideas. So what did I miss? Miss anything? You have one that you specifically do that especially is important to taking idea and turning it into something? Share it in the chat, or if you're watching this on Restream, then of course you can share it in the comments. So be curious to know. So with that said, who's ready for another 3-minute business plan? I'm ready for a 3-minute business plan, so let's go. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go with another 3-minute business plan. And for this one, I have quite a few domain names that I've pulled out. And let me, I hate the delay, so let me back it up a little bit. I have a question here, and I want to make sure I stick with these. Did you create these one-word categories with the intention of creating the perfect acronym? Corp. No, I didn't. I'm not that organized, but that's pretty cool. I'm gonna steal that. No, but yeah, there you go. I did not notice that, but that's cool. Corp. Here's the what he did. Corporate. I'm just sharing these with everybody. Corporation against is an organization, usually a group of people. And then here's the breakdown: capture, organize, rethink, prioritize. I love acronyms. I'm actually surprised I did not come up with that. So there you go. I did not come up with it, but CORP is capture, organize, rethink, and prioritize. Man, there you go. I love this. I love the 2-way also. Someday maybe we'll have to do like a Zoom version of this where we can all be together, because anyhow. Okay. Thanks, Vito. I appreciate that. And let's go on to the 3-minute next 3-minute business plan. So I'm going to stick to a couple middle of the road ones. Oh, let's go with this one. This one's a fun one. Balldrops.com. Balldrops.com. I'm going to start that timer. So this one's over on GoDaddy. Ends, looks like one day, so tomorrow. And balldrops.com, I've been to some numerous New Year's Eve parties or different events where they do balloon drops. Did I say ball drop? Balloon drops. Balloondrops.com. And they've sometimes done balloon drops where there's different prizes in the balloons, whatever it is. It's, those big events where it's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And, they release the balloons. They're dropping all over the place. They start popping like crazy. Kids start crying. It's good stuff. Well, balloondrops.com can either provide how to do it yourself type balloon drops, or you can provide the netting, the balloons, all the things needed to do a balloon drop yourself. Could be a super simple party-related business where you're doing exactly what it says on the domain there, balloon drops. So let me just see real quick. I'm going to check. And let me share out my screen. Hide me. So I'm just trying to look at. Okay, so this is over at Balloon Drops. I had it. Okay, so Balloon Drops. It looks like there's 1,600 people searching for it. 2,900 over the course of all the world. So there's several thousand people looking for ball drops, and you see that there's products associated with it. So balloon drop bag, balloon drop net, do-it-yourself balloon drop kit, how to make a balloon drop. So there's a good niche market specifically for this, specifically for that industry. So balloondrops.com takes care of answering those questions and providing visitors with those products. 1,000 some people a day. I'm not sure what the volume. The cost per click was 36 cents per click related to those keywords. And I'm guessing you get closer to the end of the year, New Year's Eve, it's probably a very seasonal business. I love the idea of selling products. Maybe it's done through you putting together a kit and selling it on Amazon, or you organizing it and just doing an affiliate program to where you're just doing, commission. Balloondrop.com, $12. Problem is, people want to know how to do it themselves or buy products to be able to do a balloon drop. And balloondrops.com shows you how to prepare and create a balloon drop for your next event. Balloondrops.com. Authoritative domain name, so you can reach out to the creators of the products or services. And that's another thing, services specifically. You can register and show services, party services that will come out and set them up maybe. I'm sure they exist. All right there, balloondrops.com. And there you go. How would you develop it? I love that little business idea, especially if you can get it for cheap, a little $12 domain. I'm guessing it's not going to go for a ton. This will be one that will go for $200 or less, I'm assuming, depending on if what Huge Domains or whatever bids up on it. But it's very niche. Nice little domain name. Could be a simple business where you put together some how-tos on how to do it, find them around YouTube, put the content out there, pick up the search engine optimization, sell some products. I like that one. So how would you develop? Balldrops.com, balldrops.com. Balloon drops. My goodness gracious. Okay. There we go. Sometimes I'll tell you what, and I don't know if you heard, my wife's laughing at me in the background. Should bring her on the camera, see what she thinks. Okay, let's go on to, let's start to get to some of the, let's go to one more fun domain name, and then we will go to some of the domains that I really think could be maybe a larger business play. So here we go, next 3-minute business plan. Next domain name up is hugeideas.com. See, these comments come through and I can't. Okay, and here we go. Jason Shepard saying, you're thinking ahead to New Year's Eve. We get it. We all want 2020 to be over. And yes, I get that as well. In fact, one of the things I may talk about next week is this idea of, counting days, counting weeks, and making most of the time we have. I don't know. I have a bunch of things that I want to do next week. But yeah, Jason, I agree. Like let's get to the ball drop. Although it's not going to end with the ball drop, I don't think so. Okay, let's go on to the domain name here. And that is huge ideas, huge.com. We'll start the 3-minute timer. This one was just a fun one. It's $37 over on GoDaddy, ends in 5 days. And this one, I thought it was a fun domain name. Probably a little more of a brand than what I care to have. But seeing how today we're talking about business ideas, I couldn't help but add huge ideas to it. So what is hugeideas.com? What problem can we solve with it? Huge Ideas. Maybe Huge Ideas is a consulting service that helps others with ideas that are giant and helps you actually turn them into a reality. sounds like a pretty reasonable. Huge idea doesn't have to be hugely hard, something like that. Keyword volume is very small. Let me see. There's really very few exact searches. There's things like how to sell your ideas for huge royalties, how to what's the big idea. They're not great keywords, so it would really have to be, I think, more of a consulting service. I love the idea of taking a large idea and showing a path to turn that idea into a reality. I follow a guy named Pat Flynn. He's one of the guys that I consider a bit of a mentor of mine. Does a lot of video and different tutorials. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. Check him out. He does smart passive income. So he does a lot of what we do, like business ideas and ways that people can make money passively, and not domain or internet based. But one of the things he talks about is he created a physical product just recently. And there's a service out there that he used. I can't remember the name of the service. Their entire thing is to let you take a physical product idea, this huge idea you have, and then they take care of breaking it down into steps to where you can actually do it. They'll do all the steps for big money, or you can do it yourself and they just get some consulting fees up front or royalties in the back. Either way, could be the way that you take huge ideas and turn them into reality. I don't know. It could be fun. I love ideas, but ultimately getting them to actually to reality is that's everything, right? Everybody's reporting on Twitter that they have too many ideas. Well, probably don't have too many ideas that are actually completed, and that's kind of the goal. Get them done. So hugeideas.com, that's over on GoDaddy and ends in 5 days. So there we go. Hugeideas.com. All these domains, how would you build them? Huge. Oh yeah. Let's see. Let's get to one that is let's get to a home run. You've bared with me for 43 minutes as of this point. Let me make sure that I'll get you one. We'll see if it actually has made it to see if any of these have made your list of domains that you're interested in this week. And we'll go to this one here. Webtrainings.com. Webtrainings.com. Anybody find that one yet? Well, here we go. We're announcing it. It's over on GoDaddy, ends in 6 days. Webtrainings.com. I mean, right now, what a huge domain name. Currently, no one bidding. $12. It won't last like that for very long because starting timer. Webtrainings.com is a huge opportunity right now. Right now, and this whole everything's remote, everything's via the internet. Webtrainings.com, whether it's live trainings or whether it is recorded trainings, webtrainings.com is where you go to have your trainings. Yeah, it says it exactly. This is the authoritative domain name that we look for and love on this show, because on our 3-minute business plan, we, of course, part of the marketing is this right here, which is authority. It's like, how can you have a business that is immediately trusted, immediately established via the domain name? Webtrainings.com is like, if I was to say webtrainings.com, what's on there? Well, web trainings, it has something to do with web trainings, obviously. So it makes sense. So problem is, there's a lot of people that are trying to solve this problem right now, which is how do you do trainings? How do you do all the things that we've previously done in person, but online? It can just be one additional solution for that problem of training people online. So webtrainings.com, maybe you provide a very basic subscription-based item that either shows Vimeo or one of those other video services, organizes them and shows them. There's all kinds of different things you put on it. Build the software out, whether it's a SaaS program or something they pay a one-time fee, whether per year or per lifetime. I don't like lifetime deals unless it's big money, but ideally you get some kind of subscription basis, and they can list their web trainings on the site. Keep it as simple as possible. You don't have to get crazy complicated. The way I would build it out is, if I had I don't have my white cards on me, but basically let's go to Skycam. We got a minute, we can do this. So the way I would build it out is log in. a tabbed dashboard of, you can add a new training, and then each training will have a tabbed out, like a tabbed module. So this is basically, training 1. You would add training 1. And then as you click on 1, it's basically you're uploading a video or linking to a video for module 1. And this could be, let's say we did today's training. Say we did, we were capturing. I know that's hard to see. Apologies. Organize and rethink. This is the core training, right? Right, Vito? The core training. And then, of course, prioritize. Okay. So basically what we've done is the idea that we, the core training that we've added to our service is number 1, module capture, number 2, organize, rethink, prioritize. And for $9.95, you can participate in that training. I don't know, something like that. Webtrainings.com, where you can go for all your web trainings needs. I love that domain. That one's a home run one. I'm sure that just made a lot of people's list if you didn't already have it on there. And I'm a big fan. I'll go back over to Skycam just for 1 second because I saw it and I love this. But you can build something elaborate, but why not build something simple? Webtrainings.com can be this simple little thing where, they pay some cheap monthly fee and you provide some tools to help them organize a web training. Who knows? I might be talking myself into some bids on this domain. So how would you build webtrainings.com? Always curious. So whether you're watching this now or watching this on repeat, I'd be curious to know. So we got some more good ones. Okay, we got 12 minutes left. Let me go with this one here. It's a pretty fun one. Cruisefunds.com. Cruisefunds.com. Going to start the timer. So I've mentioned it probably before. My wife is actually a travel agent. And one of the things that I've thought about in the travel agency, especially with booking of cruises, paying for that cruise. How do you handle, the payments? So cruisefunds.com, the problem I see is, the cruise can be anywhere from, $1,000 or $3,000, $6,000, or if you're high roller like the Main King, maybe $80,000. Anyhow, I guess you own the cruise ship as of that point. But cruisefunds.com, the problem is you can organize all your cruise payments. And here's the cool tool that I think could be on cruisefunds.com. And this is the business idea. I'm curious as to what you're coming up with on your side. But I think that cruise funds, if a lot of people want to go on a cruise for their honeymoon, okay, so like maybe, which we did, we cruise a lot. Our honeymoon was our first cruise ever. And one of the things that I think would be great is if for that honeymoon cruise, you could give your guests instead of bringing a gift, put money towards our honeymoon cruise on cruisefunds.com. Kind of an interesting idea. So now you're sending out, here's our link to make a payment on cruisefunds.com, and that goes towards our honeymoon cruise or our anniversary cruise, or maybe you're just organizing a cruise for a group of friends, and cruisefunds.com is where you organize the payments to pay for that cruise. Making payments kind of organized and simple. I like the cruise industry specifically. There can be commission in, there's not a lot of commission. Travel agents make barely anything, but, there's commission that can be made on the cruise. But then especially if you can start to make like a percentage of each of those payments or something, cruisefunds.com could be a tool that helps people quite a bit in organizing group cruises and, allowing other people to pay for your cruise. In fact, why don't we build out cruise funds? And we can send Drew on a cruise when everything opens back up. And I'll send you guys all the link, and you can, there's that Buy Me a Cup of Coffee, that website for buying a cup of coffee. Cruisefunds.com, buy me a cruise. I crack myself up. I hope everybody my face gets all red and stuff. Okay, maybe it's the lights. Okay, cruisefunds.com. Who are my cruisers, and what do you think? How would you develop it? $12 ends in 6 days over on GoDaddy, and that's another one that it probably will sneak under the radar of some of the big investors. Cruisefunds.com. So there we go. I think that one's a fun one. Could be elaborate, but payment type stuff is pretty doable nowadays. There's Stripe as a payment processor with really good development tools. There is Braintree, which is ran by PayPal. They have great developer tools that would allow you to put together a tool like cruisefund.com, charge some fees, and just provide a payment service for that specific industry. So there you go. And let's go with this one here. I want to make sure that, okay. This is a pretty good one here. Hopefully these are good. Hopefully we're rolling through some pretty good business ideas. I'm always curious as how your brain's rolling on these, whether you are just like going crazy on a whiteboard, a bunch of notes. Hopefully your brain is coming up with lots of good ideas as well. So next domain name up, ledrentals.com, and ledrentals.com. And if you're like Matt, who's my programmer right behind me, you might be like, ledrentals.com, what the heck's that have to do with anything? Boom, I'm going to drop it on you right now. 3-minute timer going for ledrentals.com. So for ledrentals.com, you might think, okay, LED is cheap. Well, there's actually a product that I've looked into recently. I asked my wife, Crystal, for permission to invest in it, and she said no. But essentially, there are these LED screens that you put together, you chain them together with, you network them together, and they create those giant LED video screens. You've seen them at events, you've seen them at concerts and things. Any place that there's a giant screen, that screen was built with like usually 2x2, 3x3, 4x4 LED panels that come together. Well, those panels come together. Those things cost like $100,000 for a pretty large section or wall with all the controllers and wires and things like that. It's usually about a 6-figure investment. So you don't see too many people buying them. What most people do is they rent them. So ledrentals.com is a service for renting large LED video screens. I like it. So you're not renting little LED lights or anything like that. You're renting out these, giant, expensive video screens. Rent them out for trade shows, rent them out for local events. And you're talking thousands of dollars that you would be renting these out for. Would likely need a man to set it up, probably to run it and protect your investment. But realistically, we've looked at renting these for trade shows. We've never done it, which is part of why I was looking to even buy one. Just we do enough trade shows and things that it would be freaking cool to have. You can do all kinds of creative things with them, but ledrentals.com is where you would go to find the companies that have LED signage for rent. And you could rent out these things for several $1,000s. So good stuff. In fact, Jason mentioned here, this is big business, typically 5-figure rentals, yeah, exactly. They're really like, you're not going to get this with a lot of small businesses. A lot of small businesses aren't going to go out there and make this 6-figure investment in this technology. But if, people have, and they just need a way to find those rental companies, you can either bring those rental companies together in this one place, which is nice about the plural, LED rentals, or you can provide the service yourself. Maybe in your local area, you provide the service, and then other places you have people that you partner with. If you have some money burning a hole in your pocket and you want to buy some technology, LED Rentals might be the domain name to build some kind of LED sign, video screen empire. These are those big video walls. So there you go. LEDrentals.com. Fun business. It is big business. These rentals are thousands, like even the small ones that I've looked into are thousands of dollars to rent. Like I think about like a 6-foot by 4-foot wall. those things, it's like $2,600 or something for like a 3 or 4 day event. And they just sit there. That's the crazy thing. They sit there, that one-time investment. There's not many places you could spend money and then like monetize it and create cash flow off of it. And like billboards is one way you can do it. And these video screens is one way you can do it as well internally. So there you go, ledrentals.com. Hopefully that one's kind of an interesting one. And maybe I'm completely off in left field or something. How would you build out ledrentals.com? Take it from domain to profit. That's what we're looking to do. And we have just 3 minutes left. Let's see what one. So here's some domain names that I've not gotten to that you can look up, and maybe I'll post them on Twitter over the course of the week. There is jobmanager.com, flavortanks.com. There is freelanceproducts.com and medicalportal.com, which is a good one. For the sake of this show, let's bite off more than what we can chew. Let's go with the idea of, and here's, I just stick on the LED rentals. You can also use it for LED uplighting rentals. There's all kinds of stuff you could do. Basically, you could be the LED king with ledrentals.com. LED king, there you go. Okay, so let's bite off more we could chew. I'm going to go in the medical field and go with medicalportal.com as our final domain name as we wrap it up here. Medicalportal.com ends in 4 days, $185 over on GoDaddy. And Medical Portal is exactly that. So whether you use, every doctor's office out there has these portals now, whether it's myportal.com, mychart.com, not my, there's all kinds of them out there. And basically what they do is give you access to your medical records. Well, medicalportal.com, if you wanted to upstart a very big business, which would be a medical portal like that, basically you have to look into the kind of security and encryptions you do. Then you can build out medical records software, sell it to doctors' offices. It could be, if you ever look for a business on this show that has a really difficult path forward, but a huge upside potentially in the future, this would be the kind of domain that has that. It's going to be difficult to build out the product. It's going to require a lot of this over here. It's going to require you to use that domain name and build up an empire, build up a giant business. But realistically, you can do it. It can be done. And of course, the timer started over. But so medicalportal.com, the problem is all medical records are digital nowadays, and we need one nice, easy place to organize our medical records. Medicalportal.com is that domain name, is the portal giving you and everyone access to your medical records, and it is up for auction. So once this goes, assuming it goes to auction, completes, it's going to be gone forever to the person that hopefully is going to develop it into a medical portal website. So like I said, that's a pretty big domain name, big ask. It's a big project. I wouldn't bite that kind of development off, but maybe you are. How would you develop it? Medicalportal.com, one of the domain names. And follow me on Twitter if you don't already, Drew Wash. And I'm going to be posting, I'm going to do 3-minute business plans for all the domains we did not complete. And I'll post them throughout the week over on my Twitter because I hate just leaving them hanging. So some of those domains are going to be posted on my Twitter, so make sure you follow me there. Next week, we have some pretty interesting stuff that I plan on doing, and that is, this is possible, subject to change. What we're going to try to do here at my team, here at my company, business has been a little tough. A lot of our customers have been struggling with COVID, and business is just not as strong as what it was. A lot of them have been shutting their doors, and I'll tell you, it makes the energy in the office at times a little down. We're not used to seeing red numbers in our company. We like seeing green ones, but ultimately we can't change the reality that's out there. But what we can do is change the energy in our office. And one of the ways that we're looking to do that is, I believe next week, if we can identify a domain name that we've purchased, we're going to share with you the domain name we're going to build, and then over the course of next week, we're going to develop a business some kind of product that solves a problem. We're going to do that in 1 week, and we're going to share what that domain is next week, talk about what process we're going to do, then we're going to actually do it. And then hopefully in the week after that, we're going to talk about how we're actually going to try to sell it and try to make some money over the course of just a couple weeks. So whether you're Vito with, streamingconcerts.com, or maybe you have some other web domain that you just kind of have been just wanting to play with, the next 2 weeks might be a good time to dust it off and try to follow along as we develop a domain name into a business over the course of a really quick time period. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully it works out. So thanks for joining us. If you haven't, make sure you like this video, share it out. Let people know that this show exists and that we're here to help others take those ideas, take the domain names that are available to us all and develop them. I'm Drew Wash. Thanks for joining me.